Hello, in this video, you will identify direct and inverse variation and write equations for each one of them. The graph of direct variation is a linear function. It is a straight line. Whether the slope is positive or negative, it's a straight line. And the equation of direct is just like linear equation y equals kx, but we usually have m for our slope in this. Remember, this is only a variable, so k is the constant. But the graph of inverse is non-linear. It is like a curve, but then if you see, it is divided into two parts. Why? Because x is in the denominator, so when x is 0, the graph is undefined. That's why there is a jump, okay? Whether it's positive or negative. So that's what it looks like when you graph them. So how do we distinguish between the two? Direct variation, we already said, is linear function, and inverse is non-linear. The direct passes through the origin like we saw in the graph, and inverse x cannot be 0 because it's in the denominator. For direct variation, the two quantities follow the same direction. That is, as x increases, y increases as well. And if x decreases, y decreases also. But for the inverse, they go in opposite direction. As x increases, y would decrease. And as x decreases, y would increase. For the direct variation, the ratio of the two quantities, that's if you divide y over x, just like we do slope, if you divide y over x, it's going to give you a constant. But for the inverse, to get a constant, you have to multiply them, find the product of x and y. So, as we've said before, the equation of the direct is a linear equation, y equals kx, where k is the constant. But for the not inverse, it is the inverse of x. Now, instead of x times k, you multiply the inverse of x, which is 1 over x, times k. But if you simplify this, it's going to be y equals k over x. Okay, let's look at problems. Determine whether the situation represents direct or inverse, and then write the equation. You have enough money to buy 5 hats for $10 each. So it's $10 each. One of them costs $10. So we can. I encourage you as much as possible, draw a table to help you organize your work. So if we have 5 hats, hats is 5. X is our hat, and then the dependent variable is y, which is the cost. Okay. So it's going to be $10. And then if you have 10 hats, you're going to have $5. So if you look at how as the hat increases from 5 to 10, the hat increases. It increases from 5 to 10. What does the cost do? The cost would decrease from 10 to 5. And so since both of them are going in different directions, so it looks like it's going to be inverse. But to confirm, we have to look for constant. See if they have constant. If they have constant for inverse, it means if we multiply y and x, we're going to get a constant if it is inverse. So, okay, so for constant x and y, multiply 5 times 10. We'll get 50. Okay, if we multiply 10 times 5, we get 50 also. So the constant is 50. So they go in different direction and they have constant, so we know for sure it is inverse. And the equation is going to be then y equals k over x, which is going to be y equals, we know the k, which is 5 right here, substitute that for k, so 50 over x, and that's the equation they want us to write. Next. Okay, your cousin earns $50 for mowing 2 lawns. Okay, so number of lawns, 2 lawns, $50. Okay, 3 lawns, $75. So what happens as the number of lawns increases from 2 to 3? What happens to the earning? The earning increases also. Okay, so the pattern goes the same. It looks like direct. Okay, we're going to write direct for now and check it to be sure. So how we check it to be sure, we're going to find if they have a constant. If it is direct, then the constant is going to be, if we divide y by x, we get the constant. So is going to be 50 divided by x, which will give us, 50 divided by 2, which will give us 25. And then y over x, also if we use 75 divided by 3, we get 25 also. So k is 25. So if k is 25, then the linear is y equals kx. So we substitute k for 25 and x, and that is our equation. Moving on, next. The money the swim team earns from a car wash is divided evenly among the members. Assume the swim team earns, okay? Now, you need to assume a number and check it out to be sure. If you look at this, it may be, it make you think, oh, it's linear, and so it's direct, but let's check it. The earning is 500. All we know is 500 that they make. Okay. Again, you can use any number. You can use 1,000. You can use whatever. Just assume any number. So, but we want to see the pattern. So now it depends on how many members. What if there is only one member? That one member, we get the whole of 500. What if there are two members? How much would each get? Each member. Because it said divided evenly. So each member will get 250. Okay. What if there are 5 members? How much would each get? Divide them. 500 divided by 5 is 100. And what if there are 10 members? Of course, 10 is going to divide this, and each one would get what? 50. And we can keep going as much as you want. What if there are 20 members? For 20 members, divide that. Each person is going to get 25. And you can go 100 members, 500 or whatever, okay? So, but we see the pattern. As the number of members increases, what happens? What happens to the amount each person gets? Each person is going to get less. It decreases. So we see the pattern. It makes it look like inverse. Okay, if it is inverse, let's check for constants. Well, it's going to be y times x. So 1 times 500, 500, 2 times 250, 500, 5 times 100, 500. Okay, it's all 500, so we know that k is 500. That's the amount that it stays constant. So we write the equation y equals 500 over x. Okay, the number of people we're going to divide that. Okay, here is just a table. General number can represent anything. So we want to identify whether it is direct, inverse, or neither. Sometimes it can be. So let's look at the pattern. As x goes from -3 to -1, positive. So it goes from negative to positive. So it is increasing. What is y doing? Y 0, 1, 2, 3. Y is increasing as well. Well, it looks like a direct. Let's keep it for now. And then we don't stop there. We have to check to make sure it has a constant. Okay, let's see. If it is direct, that means y divided by x would give us a constant. So let's see. Okay, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 2 divided by 1 is 2. 1 divided by -1 is negative. So looking at this, even 2 is enough to check they are not constant. They are not the same thing. Okay, you have to get the same thing. And even looking at the table, you will remember that direct variation has 0, 0, passes through 0, 0. So if y is 0, x must be 0. So the fact that this only tells you is not even direct, but you can see. So it is not inverse either because they didn't go in the different direction. So it is neither. It is neither direct nor inverse. Okay. One more. The price per person to rent a limousine varies inversely. Okay, they already told us that they vary inversely. So we are not determining it. So we know it's inverse. So if it is inverse, so the k is going to be, we multiply the y times x, our two variables, to get our k. Let me make this dot so it doesn't confuse it with x and multiplication sign. Okay, so what do we have here? We have these y and x. So you can write this as ordered pair too. So when x is 5, y is 90. And so that's the only one we have. So our constant is going to be, I have 5 for 9, doesn't matter. 9 times 5 Whether you say x times y or y times x, you get the same thing anyway because multiplication is cumulative. And this is going to be 450. So our k is 450. Now we're going to write the equation. Y equals k over x. So y equals, our k is 450 over x. So with this equation, we can find all the points on this line if we graph it. So we can use this equation now to answer this question. So we are asked to find how many people. We are looking for how many people. So what represents the number of people? X. So we are solving for x. So y represents the cost. So they gave us the cost here for y. So we substitute this for y. So therefore, we replace this with y with 56.25 equals 450 divided by x. And we can put this over 1 to make it both of them fraction. Once we have two fractions, it gives us proportion, so we can actually cross multiply if you want. Okay, so if I cross multiply this, it's going to give me 56. I'll do this, 56.25 times x equals 1 times 450. And so we divide both sides by 2.6. So this is times. So x is going to be 450 divided by 56.25. So x is going to be, plug in your calculator, 8. So there will be 8 people. If there are 8 people, then each person would pay 56. They will pay less. Because if they have more number of people, the less they will pay.